Hello, everybody. I wanted to. I was in here today. I've been here all day on Saturday, and I originally was going to work on the lift, which I really need to do, and and we got started on electrical work and so forth. But anyhow, I'm going through the shop. I'm realizing that I love to organize. I love to find messes and clean them up and make the shop look good and make it to where we're more efficient. And when you go to grab a tool, you can grab it and go on. So, but since I got involved with some electrical work, and trying to install a compressor and so forth, I ended up kind of looking at the organization of things again, and we got a real problem here from the standpoint of we're in a brand new facility and we don't have a place for everything so that everything can be in its place. And so everything is kind of free form right now. But there are some obvious things that we can do. And quite frankly, I love to do this kind of stuff that I'm about to show you. But the problem is that I've got other things I'm supposed to be doing, and that's making sure that I'm getting the customers billed and making sure that I'm staying ahead of the customer in terms of what it is they want to have done, so we can make sure that we have all the materials and stuff here for you to do your job. And I'm supposed to be billing, and I'm supposed to be fixing the lift, and I'm supposed to be managing getting us moved in over here too. So anyhow, something I need help with. And I thought the best way to get some help with you from everyone is to show you where I think we could grow a little bit, and where we could do a little better job, and show you some obvious things. And then when you see the obvious things, you'll be able to apply this knowledge and help bring the level of organization up. What I see is that our level of organization seems to be declining on a consistent basis instead of improving on a consistent basis. So what I want to do is get us to where we are improving on a consistent basis. So this first picture is of some scrap metal on top of a transformer, or scrap wood on top of a transformer. The transformer, the housing of the transformer is designed to help keep the transformer cool, and the cooler the transformer is kept, the longer it's going to live. And if the transformer was to get hot, we've got a fire hazard on top. So anyway, I'm gonna grab this this material off of the lid so that I can put it in my toolboxes. But the wood needs to go into a bin. For disposal. This should be empty. We shouldn't ever have anything on top of the transformer. So I want to ask you guys to help me do that. In the dumpster, we have metal in the dumpster, and metal is not supposed to go in the dumpster, and it doesn't go in the landfill. It gets recycled. So this thing needs to come out. Whoever put that in there, it needs to come out and needs to go in our scrap bin. And we can make a little money on it in the scrap bin. I mean, maybe 20 cents or something, but just the same, we can get in trouble from the landfill people if they find the metal in there. And then if you put a piece of plastic in the dumpster and it doesn't go in the dumpster, don't just say, "Ah, damn, it didn't go in the dumpster." Go ahead and go outside. It's a pain in the ass. Go outside, get it, put it back in the dumpster. If it blew out, same story. Please put this stuff in the dumpster. On a daily basis, our cleanup folks ought to be taking a look at that. They're going to be seeing the dumpster every day, and we don't. If this happens to you, please, while you're putting it in the dumpster, please go ahead and get it and put it in the dumpster instead of relying on our cleanup people to do it. But then again, if a cleanup person sees the dumpster in this condition, then it needs to get put up. Okay. I just happen to notice that we've got a pallet here that has nothing on it. It used to have some pallet rack arms on it. It's now empty. That just needs to get pulled out of there and put away. And so, again, when you see stuff, question if everything, question on a daily basis. You need to be questioning basically everything you see. Is it in the right spot? Is it worth keeping, or does it need to be thrown away? We have in this picture, we have building materials on the shelf on the arms with the Avid Array. We have a rack for building materials down here at the bottom. This should be down here on the bottom. I do realize it sticks out, but I believe we can stick it out to the left-hand side of this picture instead of sticking it out up here. But it is a building material. At least it needs to be down on this rack. Broom needs to go back where you got it from. Don't leave the broom where you were cleaning up, because nobody's ever going to think about going to the buffing area to find a broom. We had the scrap lights removed from the bottom of this table. And of course, we got trash over here. That's obvious that shouldn't be there. We've got scrap metal here. We removed the lights, but we didn't remove the rest of the scrap metal over here. We took the pigtails off, and I'm not going to probably go looking for pigtails on the bottom of this shelf. But I have a place, there's a teepee, electrical teepee, that has electrical pigtails on it. And that's where those pigtails should have gone. And there may be other violations of organization down here, but those are the ones that I can plainly see. Okay, so I've got a paper out here. This goes to our tap and die set. It tells you what size drill bits to use for particular size bolts, bolt taps. And it's just laying out on the bench where it's going to get damaged and or thrown away. More on that later. It looks like I took a couple pictures in my pocket. But we'll be more on that later. We'll come back to it. In my plumbing drawer, I spotted today a layout die bottle. Well, that's not where the layout die bottle goes. As a matter of fact, I just now spotted a bottle of a container of lapping compound, which is used. These two things are used for putting props on. They actually belong in the stainless steel roll around kit. They don't belong in the plumbing kit, and they were not retrieved. They were not taken out of the plumbing kit. They were taken out of one box and put back in another box. That does not qualify for improvement or even holding steady in our organization of our tools and so forth. So now I've got the die and the compound in the proper drawer. I also found our electrical tool kit that came out of the truck laying on a workbench. Well, it shouldn't have come out of the truck. So I'm going to stick it back in the truck. Underneath that is a bill from the machine shop that worked on Mr. Applegate's engine. So that bill is not in the right place. That needs to go to James, and that needs to go in Mr. Applegate's file. We also have a driver's daily logbook. That belongs in the truck. That should never have come out of the truck to become clutter in another area. Somebody used this wheel, grinding wheel, used it all up, took it off, set it on a tool bench. That needs to go in the trash immediately. Now, as for cleanup people, if it didn't go in the trash immediately, cleanup people need to recognize that's of no use to anybody. That's nothing but clutter. It needs to go in the trash. We actually have a stud for, it turns out, for a K engine exhaust manifold. Now, we have places for our fasteners, and that's not the spot for where our fastener goes. So the first line of defense, the person that was using them left it in the wrong spot. But for as far as the cleanup people goes, that's not the right place for a stud. So it turns out we have a spot over on one of our fastener racks. There's actually a box for manifold studs. If you open the box, you'll see about 10 more of these things exactly like that inside the box. Another picture inside of my pocket. Okay, so we had this stuff stacked against a wall, and I have a long-term storage solution for this. But short term, this is blocking a section of pallet racks. We can't, right now I have to move shit to get to anything on a pallet rack. I've got to move shit out of the way. So we need to stop, just in general, putting shit in front of putting stuff in front of the pallet racks, because it's just going to have to get moved and makes the pallet rack useless until that stuff's moved. So that's a problem. We need to stop storing stuff that way. We need to store it the long term, figure out what the long term method is and store it that way. Okay, here we have a trash can. We have boxes that never made it to the trash can. Now, so the first mistake was whoever took the stuff out of the box didn't put it in a trash can. Well, of course, in a trash can just fills a trash can full of boxes. But that's been there almost a month. And so our cleanup people walking around should recognize that, and they should be asking questions. Does that need thrown away or not? And they need to ask the guy in the area, which the guy in the area is Jason. So, or Jason needs to when he gets done with the box and it's marked trash on it, so that the people, cleanup people, know exactly what to do with it. So, I'm not bashing either one of you guys, by the way. I'm just saying we got to manage so that we don't have this clutter in our way. And there's obvious stuff on the floor. I mean, there's papers on the floor, for heaven's sakes. So there's obvious stuff that even you don't know about the box. There's obvious stuff that could be cleaned up. All right. Then we have a crate back behind here. Same story. That crate should be in the dumpster. And then we have a bottle. This is our battery charging and testing station. So anything that doesn't have anything to do with batteries doesn't really need to be on it. So we have a bottle of cement for PVC pipe. Well, guess what? That sucker's empty. Throw it away. First of all, recognize that it's not where it should be. If it was full, it's not where it should be. And so we've been keeping it in my plumbing drawer, and I think everybody pretty well knows that, but it's not where it should be. So if you don't know where it should be, ask. And then this one's empty. So, I mean, obviously it belongs in the trash. There's also a Fake-A-Lake down here. Well, the Fake-A-Lake are stored. They're hung right by the doorway, by that overhead door, to the left side of the overhead door on the inside. Got a battery box. So the battery boxes belong up on a shelf where we can sell those. And I don't know exactly what's in the shoebox here, but there's something stored in the shoebox. My guess is whatever it is probably doesn't belong on that table either. Here's our battery tester, just laying on the bench, but it has a place. It should be hanging there. Okay, so I told you when I showed you the piece of paper a few pictures back, I showed you this right here. That belongs inside this kit over here. Oh, look, I took a picture of it again. That belongs inside this kit. So, also this kit, when we need to mark the top of the kit, and maybe I'll get to it before anybody else, but we need to mark the top of the kit that this is the bottom one opening and this is the top one opening. If you open it, this is the top. It doesn't hold the dies well. But everything, all the dies should be in their location here. So at a glance, you can see if you're missing one. And then that should be in the kit as well, so that the person who pulls out the kit has all the information they need to be able to use the tool. Okay, so that's what the kit should look like. And we're missing a screwdriver. We're missing a little short stubby screwdriver that's used on these screws right here. And that's how you, at a glance, you can tell if you're missing anything, and then you can look for that item and put it in there before you put the item up. So we put this cart together a couple weeks ago. Somebody did, I don't know who, but I know it's been together for a couple of weeks, and the box is still laying out. So first of all, the person that put the cart together should have put it in the dumpster, or designated as trash so the trash people knew what to do with it. And then if the trash people have walked by this for 2 weeks, then they should have been asking a question, what do I need to do about this box ball? Or anybody else. They can ask me or ask anybody else that might have had something to do with it. Okay. Also, as the cleanup people are going through, I'd like for you to also watch for things that need repaired. So this is a creeper that needs repaired. Two things wrong in this picture, actually. We have a creeper that needs repaired. Right here, this strap goes around this crank this lever right here to set the sleep number for the creeper. And yeah, I just had sleep number. And then here's a lifting strap. Well, the lifting strap does not belong on the water valve. It belongs over by where our lifting equipment is, which would be the gantries. And this just shows a little better picture of the repair that needs to be made. If somebody cut a lock, I don't know if it was us or not, but we don't need to have a piece of a lock and a key. That needs to go in a scrap bin. Somebody's put back a screwdriver that doesn't belong in my bin. Don't know where it came from, but wherever it is, that person's disappointed. And then one of my short stubby screwdrivers is missing. Here we have screws that should be on the trailer. We have lids. We have spray cans, or a spray can. Could be empty, maybe not, but it doesn't belong there. It belongs where all the other spray cans are, which is on a sales shelf. This is spray cans for the engines, and they've been sitting there at least a couple of weeks, and they don't belong there. They belong on the sales shelf. We have a Gojo hand cleaning thing that belongs. Probably ought to put it up by our new kitchen, laundry sink. So that would be a better spot for that. We have here an almost empty stretch wrap that would go over in shipping. We have a place for our trailer locks in the main office. That's where that needs to go. This would go on perhaps a sales shelf. We also have, Henry, we've got, I don't know when these came or how they got here, but we've got caps for our wheels, center caps for our wheels on our trailers. And of course we have shelves over in the Rayco area for our trailer parts. So this should go over there in that area. Next, I don't know what Big Louie is or what it looks like. I think it's an exhaust system in there. I don't know whose it is or how it got there, but that needs to go. That's clutter, and that interferes with our operation. This really shouldn't require any questions being asked of anybody as to the necessity for cleaning this up right here. Right here we have, this says remote cleaning kit, like 2 of 3 or 3 of 3. This belongs over on our cleaning rack, and this belongs on our oil, our lubrication rack. This is the, so these are both in the wrong spot. Last week we attempted to take some scrap out, and this scrap bin was too heavy for the dolly. And the dolly was left right there instead of put back where it belongs. That belongs in the laundry / shipping room. And I would never think to go over to the scrap area in Rayco to look for the dolly that belongs somewhere else. So again, we just instead of building on our organization, the organization of our equipment, that's in a state of steady decline. This shows, here's another tap and die set. This shows what a tap and die set ought to look like. Actually, when I took this picture, I had the paperwork that tells you what size holes the drill and so forth for the various taps. I had that in my hand. Going back to the bench that should have nothing but batteries and chargers on it, we have the Fake-A-Lake and we have the wheel chock. We also have what is a set of safety glasses that was worn one time. I know who that was, and that's a terrible waste of safety glasses. So they're not going to be. So anyway, I put them up, and I'll have more on that later. There's some batteries that literally I picked these up and moved them about 2 foot and threw them away. So whoever took those batteries out, I mean, this is unacceptable. We have blocks. We actually have a place for blocks. And if these blocks were in the right place, we'd have a place for that 5-gallon bucket that belongs on this cleaning supply rack. Another thing that would help us with space on the cleaning supply rack is to not have stuff that doesn't belong on the cleaning supplies. You will see that that is stripper. So I would hate to think that someone could actually come over that's cleaning, could actually come over to this and grab the wrong can and maybe put stripper on a boat accidentally. So when I brought the stripper back over to the area that it should go, which is right behind this one, we've got the other can of stripper right behind this one on the shelf. I'm looking, and we got all this trash and crap underneath the shelf. So cleanup folks, that needs to, you can't have that. You gotta keep that stuff cleaned up, okay? All right. When I put the safety glasses away, I find in the safety cabinet a drop cloth. Well, that's not where the drop cloths belong. I would not go to the safety cabinet looking for a drop cloth. So this drop cloth's taking up room where something else should be stored. I believe this is a safety glass box, and so that's just an example of when you open a door, do a quick scan and make sure that everything behind that door is where it should be. When you look at a shelf, do a quick scan. Make sure that everything on that shelf is where it should be and that it belongs on the shelf. Case in point, somebody actually went to the trouble of putting 2 rolls of rope in front of this abandoned water bottle. And it's like, that's just clutter. I mean, how do you do that? So that bottle should have come off, got emptied, and thrown away. And you don't even have to go anywhere to empty it. Empty it on the damn floor. And it'll evaporate in 10 minutes. It'll be gone. There's other also points out, we're buying water bottles and we're leaving half full water bottles around, and which become clutter, and it's expensive. I mean, I don't know how much we're paying for a bottle of water, 20 cents, 30 cents, I don't know. But put your initial on them, and when you're done with the water bottle, if it's hot and you want it to be cold again, put it back in the fridge. It's got your initial on it, for heaven's sakes. That's just wasteful. And if we're wasting that, what else are we wasting? Also, right here, we're starting to get a catch-all area. We've got a turnbuckle. We've got a bin for turnbuckles. It might not be that bin right here, but we've got bins for turnbuckles. We've got bins for 6x1 self-drilling screws. We've got bins for tape. Don't put this shit, just don't lay this shit around like that. Put it away. First line of defense is the person that actually left it here. Second line of defense is our cleanup people should be scanning the shelves for anything that is out of place at all times. Everywhere they go, they should be scanning for stuff that's out of place. Every one of us, not just the cleanup people, every one of us should be scanning every day, everywhere we go, for something that's out of place, and then make sure that we get it into its place. All right, folks, I really appreciate you listening to me. I'm not ranting for 24 minutes. Listening to, it's going to be 25 by the time I'm done. Again, I'm not trying to point anybody out. If I was going to point anybody out, I would point out that Jeff does a really good job of taking care of his area. And Tony does a pretty decent job. The rest of us probably have some more challenges because, we're doing small jobs all over the building. But the main thing I'm going to drive home here is, in summary, is everything needs to have a place and be in its place. And that's a real challenge right now because of the fact that we're in a new building. And I understand that. And then our level of organization should be in a mode of continuous improvement, not continuous decline. So we got to remember, we want to continuously, each and every one of us is responsible for continuously improving our level of organization. Last, our cleanup folks are, if you've got something that needs to be cleaned up, you're done with it, it's trash, it's cardboard, whatever, mark on it, tell the cleanup people, or throw it away yourself. Either, all of those things are acceptable. What's not acceptable is just to leave shit laying around. And as far as the cleaning people go, always be scanning, looking for something that's out of place. Something, cardboard boxes laying on the floor are out of place. So then, if that's the case, then you've got to ask the person in the area, first of all, is this ready to be thrown away or not? Try not to bother me with that question, because I'm supposed to be doing other things. But you know what? The buck stops here. I am the guy that's going to answer that question if that's the case. So, all right, that's the purpose for this. I hope nobody gets their nose out of joint, because that's not how it's intended at all. It's intended for how can we improve, and how can we do better at what we do, and how can we look better at what we're doing. All right, thanks very much, everybody, for the 25 minutes of your time that I've asked you to spend looking at this.